Oh, you bastard.
And suddenly I'm down by one friend.
Okay. Hi guys, and welcome to the very first book club meeting for the Dewey Decimators blog. I'm Kelly.
Caitlin.
Peyton.
Matt.
And this month, Peyton picked our book. Peyton, do you want to tell us about the name of the book, the author, what it's about?
This is Dare Me by Megan Abbott. I did have to check because I forgot. It is about a group of cheerleaders and their mysterious and dangerous adventures.
It's not a Scooby-Doo episode.
I know!
It felt like it almost could have been.
I like looking in here going, what happens?
It absolutely could have been like a 70s Scooby-Doo
I
episode.
swear I read
Really?
this.
I don't know that it could have been a 70s Scooby-Doo. Like DC presents Scooby-Doo. That's what it kind of felt like it could have been.
That would have been
Maybe.
great.
Hi, welcome to our mascot.
This is stuff to see.
Behind me.
But it's about a group of cheerleaders and the things they get into, high school cheerleaders, and there's some scandalous things that happen.
Ooh,
Scandalous.
And
Things.
I can't think of the word, dangerous murdery
there you go.
things that happen.
Wasn't
Hashtag
really that
spoiler.
dangerous. I mean, I guess for that one guy, maybe.
I
Like
mean,
I mean,
based on a certain page in which teeth are described in ways they shouldn't be described.
Yeah.
To be fair, though.
So, to be fair.
To be fair.
Letterkenny callback.
Hasn't watched Letterkenny.
Aww.
So, just a forewarning, there will probably be spoilers because I feel like you can't really discuss the good part of the book without it because that was it. It was a book.
things happened.
Well, at least for three of us, there was a pretty limited spot where we were having a good time.
When did you get in here?
He's been in here. This is Ezio. You'll learn more about him, but
He did not read the book.
he can't read.
Thank you for adding
Like
that.
you to prove that.
He can't read.
So I guess we should talk a little more about the plot of the book, the meat of the book, so to say. So it is a group of cheerleaders, and they're led by kind of a queen bee, whose name is Beth,
Queen bee.
who
Queen
is
Beth.
just deeply psychotic. Like, it gets into it, but
She's broken.
she's broken.
They're all broken.
They're all broken.
She's really broken.
But, so they get a new captain. Captain. A
Coach.
Coach.
They get a coach.
Who's referred
Who's
to
also-
as coach.
I care about sports.
The sport ball.
They get a coach. Also, at no point do you know which sport they're cheering for.
Well, I don't know, because
It's mentioned basketball and football.
yeah,
So, it goes
just
over a
awful.
season, I guess.
A year?
Each chapter has a date
But
with the chapter number, whether or not anyone pays attention
Oh, does
to that.
it? See,
Oh,
I didn't know that. 'cause I
it's
listened
like,
to it.
it's in a lighter gray and it's like subtitled. But anyway,
Yeah,
so they're
chapter two.
cheering. They get a new coach, and the coach is very stern, encourages eating disorders with one of the students, and then like all of them somehow again, words cannot express how terrible of a person this coach is. So I don't. Does anyone else want to talk?
You got this.
You're used to doing this.
Anyway, so the coach she's an awful person, but she pretty much whips them into shape and has very high expectations for them. And these are girls who have been pretty adrift through the entire beginning of the book. They're looking for structure because they didn't have it with their previous coach, and a lot of them have family issues, don't get enough attention at home, things like that. So the minute they have an authority figure that gives them any modicum of attention, they're all over it and pretty much start worshiping this woman.
Except for Beth.
Except for
Except
the
for
Queen Bee Beth.
Queen
who-
Bee.
Because her authority's been challenged.
Right.
Because she's
Are
not
you
Queen Bee.
kidding me with this?
You
It's
see the
kinda
sweet
cute.
bow ways.
Theo likes the attention.
Yeah.
But Beth is the, what's it called?
That's gross.
The head.
She's the captain.
She's the captain.
Captain. We didn't play sports.
So, one of the
Speak for
coach's first decisions when she comes in as coach is to get rid of the captain position, which Beth also does not approve of. So basically, we've already talked about her encouraging teenage drunkenness,
Eating disorders.
She's
and
also
she is
happily.
wait.
Okay,
She is
okay.
happily married. You meet the husband. You meet the child.
Happily.
Happily married
There we go,
to
team.
a man named Matt. And
It was
Not
awkward.
this one.
our Matt had a lot of fun reading it. So
In no way, shape, or form.
also, he's referred to as Matt French exclusively through the book, which
Or Mr. Coach. Wait, maybe that's just a TV show.
I think that's the TV show.
JK.
He's always
Always
Matt
Matt
French.
Yeah, always Matt.
Yeah,
Full name.
which
Yeah.
personally I feel is another way to keep him as like an above authority figure and kind of dehumanize him a little bit by keeping his last name in.
Yeah.
It keeps him from being too personal. And just kind of
Somehow he was like the only good character.
he's
to me.
the only good character,
Somehow.
which is funny.
Which is ironic.
It is ironic.
Really ironic.
So one day at school, army or recruiters for a branch of the military show up, and there's your normal kind of younger guys, and then there's an older gentleman,
Sergeant.
Blue-eyed boy.
blue-eyed, strong jawline, handsome gentleman, Zio.
He has a kind of a tragic backstory.
Tragic backstory.
Oh, yeah.
But
With-
doesn't defend the fact that he knows that Coach is married, and Coach still starts up an affair with him. So that kind of brings you to the entire plot of the book, right?
Yeah, it's
Pretty
coach,
much.
new coach, an affair with a recruiter.
And it's basically fuel for Beth.
And Queen
yeah.
B is not
Even
happy
though
with any of
Beth-
it.
Yeah.
Even though there's this whole arc kind of based on
This is
Beth creating
The course of
fuel
wheeling.
that she didn't actually have to create. It's a big plot point.
yeah, and so I just realized at no point have we mentioned there is a main character.
Is
It
there?
It is
Oh!
none of the
A main
characters we
perspective.
have
Not a
talked
single
about
person.
so far.
Which should
Kinda
tell
not
you
that
how interesting a character she is.
Right. It's all told through the view of Addie.
Yeah.
Beth is her best friend, but
Long-term best friend.
yeah, long-term best friend. But she kind of becomes infatuated with Coach.
Lesbians.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, whole book.
Whole book. And like, okay,
Yeah.
so
Not subtle.
it's not subtle.
Not subtle.
It like at the end, it like Beth reveals that she's in love because they made out one time, and you're like, yeah, no shit.
It's pretty obvious
Yeah.
from the get-go.
No way.
You've called Addie yours a few times.
A few
Yeah.
times.
We've gotten it.
But like Addie multiple times describes the underwear of her teammates.
And
Her
there's a part where they're
infatuation
like,
with them.
they used to rub oil on each other.
Yeah.
Is that just some like old man fantasy that
Or-
she got?
I don't know. This woman has a doctorate too. Like
Yeah, that right there is like the biggest thing is she's like highly educated woman. This book does not read like someone.
no.
Did anybody catch that part where Addie's like, I wanted to be in the Coach's and Will's kiss?
Oh
Yes!
yeah. So
Getting weird.
not only is the coach like she's just inappropriate. She's too casual with these students.
She brings Addie on a date.
She
with
brings
Will.
Addie basically becomes her
Will's the
accomplice.
recruiter.
Will
Yeah.
is the recruiter.
Will's not even the husband. He's the recruiter,
Recruiter.
that they're having an affair
yeah,
with.
and so Will, do you even learn his last name?
I don't know.
I almost said Will
Sarge.
Arnett.
It's not Will Arnett.
It's not Arnett.
Yeah, so
Sarge.
the coach basically turns Addie into an accomplice and brings her along on dates and everything. And there's a night where they like go out and start like drinking and dancing on like a mountaintop. And
It's just
Yeah,
Addie,
it's
Will,
weird.
and Coach, and it's Coach is like, I just wanted you to like see why I'm cheating on my.
so okay, since it was your pick, Peyton, why don't you go ahead and tell us how you felt about the book?
Well, first, I'll tell you, I did not read the book. I listened to the audiobook
Oh
because reading is hard. And I'm getting judged right
No,
now.
I thought you were gonna be like, I didn't read the book.
I finished it first. I just did not read it. I listened to it. And they showed up with like spots marked in their books like the nerds they are.
Okay, in our defense, those are spots marked to make fun of it.
Oh, even
Yeah.
better. Okay. But I liked the book.
I took your sticky note out.
It's okay. I think I can find it.
Sticky note out?
I thought it was a bookmark.
No.
So how did you feel about it though?
I have no feeling. I actually really liked it. I liked
Oh, no.
the sorry, she told me no. I liked the reader for it, who I don't know the person's name who read the
reader was
audiobook.
good.
I liked
I did both.
Yeah.
I did
Shut
both.
up.
Narrator.
Unfortunately-
I loved my narration. It was great.
Unfortunately, I had to
straight
find it on
reason.
yeah, really on Audible instead of any of our library apps because no one had it.
No one had it.
But I did like the book. I thought it was interesting to see the twist, even though I totally guessed it. But I really didn't like the portrayal of the cheerleaders because I felt like it was exaggerated.
Yeah.
And it was very much trying to be the preppy cheerleaders, and
The stereotypical
I just felt they
sitcom
took
cheerleader.
themselves way too serious.
Don't lick me.
Yeah, that's valid. So, like, there's a Goodreads synopsis review, something where it compares it to Heather's, which was not at all accurate and was a huge letdown for me.
Heather's is a classic.
Heather's is a classic. Caitlin hasn't seen it. We discovered it Sunday. Still trying to cope with the news.
Baby.
And
Hashtag.
but so
Pray for us.
there were a few spots where there was this like flash of cleverness, and you could very much feel like she'd gotten some inspiration from Heather's for her dialogue choices. But the other dialogue choices were not at all accurate for teenagers. Here,
Do you want one?
let's
example.
randomly open.
To a random non-marked page. Batman just attacked.
I said he would. Let's see. Hang on.
I got one.
Oh, you got one?
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can't read through your body blood. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Theo.
Hey.
Theo.
Let's see. Oh, let's get started, kiddies, Beth says. The Celts wait for no sad-ass chicken hearts.
Oh, wait, I found another
Yeah.
Oh,
one.
there we go.
I think it's maybe almost the same page, too. It's harvest day, girlies, she says, her voice like crackling lightning. Get busy when the corn is ripe. I don't know what state this is set in, but we are in the South.
I'm assuming like
From a
Kansas,
rural
whoever has.
Rural cat. Like, I mean, we're pretty solidly in suburbia, but like
I find
Rural.
We started out
city.
rural when we all started living here.
Right,
besides maybe-
exactly.
Maybe him.
there's a lot of farmland. My school bus was stopped for cow crossings. Like,
Cows were in my backyard.
this is not a phrase that anyone would say, much
Oh,
less a teenager.
Oh, wait.
A cheerleader teenager.
What about the use of hobo wine and feeling like hobos now?
Okay,
Like
but
Midnight Ramblers.
yeah. Oh, so again, you know, we talked about there being a few clever moments. So there was the mono.
Yeah, that was good.
There's a moment when they're discussing doing, what is it called? Like basket tosses and stuff. So basically when you have the flyer in cheerleading, I don't know a lot about cheerleading, so if I get something wrong, just forgive me. The book probably got it wrong too.
Absolutely. Got it
It's
wrong
where
too.
you, to quote the youngins, where you yeet a girl into the air.
That's
Let's go.
You yeet her up and then you catch her.
anyway.
You don't have a word for cat?
So you catch the yoded.
You catch the yoted.
The yeeted.
Yoted.
It's
yeeted.
yoded.
It's gotta be.
It doesn't
Yoded.
matter.
It matters.
Anyway, back to the funniest part. So they're talking about how different schools have banned it. One girl's like, it was banned at my cousin's school. And they were also discussing mono at the same time. And so another girl's like, you can't just ban mono. And I did giggle at
I did
that.
too.
And I also giggled when a character... So the coach lets all the girlies come hang out at her house and drink wine.
And party.
And so at one point, a girl is beyond inebriated, and the husband makes a comment, basically being annoyed, and the wife's like, this is how they are. They just drink their boxed wine, and the other character is offended about the boxed wine part, and no other part of the coach's sentence. Like, she just called you trash, and you're mad about the boxed wine statement.
I think the quote was, they're all boxed wine and havoc.
Yeah. The
And-
havoc part was not upsetting.
I've never had boxed wine.
How dare.
Real refined.
Yeah, let's tell us how you feel about boxed wine, Matt.
I love boxed wine.
So he was
Judge me.
Yeah.
I drink
And
wine.
there's also the show that's out right now, and I've watched the first 4 episodes, I think.
This is a show?
Oh,
Yeah.
so this is a show.
It's also a show.
I haven't
Surprise.
watched it, but I know.
The more you know.
It's a little more risque on some parts. What do you
Here's
want?
hoping, because that would be the only interesting part.
Fun fact, I've lost my phone. Whatever. It's somewhere around here.
Excuse me, bud.
But it's a little more risque, and there are parts within both, because now I'm confusing what's what, that I don't know if it was trying to draw attention to the inappropriateness of, like, the teenagers and the, I don't know what branch of the military they were.
Guardsmen.
Guardsmen.
They were Army recruiters.
Yes.
So
They kept referring to them as guardsmen, though, so I assume they were like National Guard recruiters.
I think so.
I have no idea.
Beth finds out about the shenanigans between Coach and Will, and it creates this whole elaborate thing where she sends a picture of someone else's kid. It's a whole thing. Anyway, she
Well,
sends a
It's
picture.
her.
It's weird
It's
because
her.
she's disguised as Coach.
I didn't want to ruin the whole
Oh,
plot.
I'm sorry.
I do.
Yeah, what, you don't need to
We
not.
got you.
Like, it's not worth reading.
You're
all
okay
of it.
skipping it.
You're
Yeah.
okay.
Watch the show, I guess.
Or not.
This show's going all over the place, and I don't know how
So
to
did the book.
Honestly, the reveal
But
is not
from
that
the
like.
book.
It's not twisty enough to
It's not
justify what we
Alright,
experienced.
so this book, it was written or published in 2012.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
Yeah. I'm just verifying that we all understand it was 2012. She calls. Wait, where'd it go? There it is. Riri, I assume, is who's calling them Holla Back Girls, which was a song from 2004. Like, how out of touch
Well, and they say, well,
with reality.
out of nowhere, suddenly, Beth starts calling them Sista, Sistuh. Like, we're talking last 10 pages of the book, and then they, like, reference it multiple times. Like, they've been calling each other that the whole time. They haven't. They have not been doing that. So the inconsistencies are out of control.
And it honestly, it feels like a stereotypical, like,
What?
I know you
thrown
liked
in.
it.
Oh no, I liked it. I thought there were a lot of problems. I really did not like the implied relationships / not implied between the older men and the young cheerleaders, 30 something and like 16, because I think they're 15 or 16. But
16
was
and 17, I think.
Okay.
And then with the
And
JV is 14.
I do think most of the like people under Will were younger than Will,
Yeah,
but
it sounds
still,
like
it's
it.
They
still
were still old
statuary.
enough to be in the military.
And
Yeah.
one of the things
Which
that
is,
bugs me about the book that they touched on in the TV show that was fantastic was the scene where in the book you don't know if Beth was raped or if she was assaulted or what, but in the movie, no, in the show, it shows her going through the trauma where you know it happened,
Aw.
and it at the end of the episode it gives you a link to Rain and all that.
Oh, that is cool.
But
That's
it really shows a good, like, her trying to process it and her having
Well,
reactions
see,
in public.
in
like,
the book, it's left ambiguous because
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
supposed to think that Beth is like
Pretty much a sociopath.
sociopath.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's left for like, I mean,
Victim
because
blaming.
even Addie goes through the process of like,
Really, well,
Yeah.
because Addie struggles. She's like, you're supposed to believe this person. You're supposed to believe
yeah,
this person.
she repeats the things
But-
you're supposed to,
but Beth
But then
says
she
that
finds
the
the-
underwear's been ripped from her.
and
It's
it's,
not.
it's folded up in her purse.
Yeah.
Where the thumbprints are on her thighs is where they get them with their tearing
Yeah, they
anyway.
throw 'em
Yeah.
She asks Beth point blank, and Beth doesn't really confirm it. She kind of hints that she led him to a point where maybe it was aggressive, like sex, but consensual.
Yeah.
If
And so
that.
so it really
I
kind
didn't
of.
even pick up that they had sex.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it,
she
it
was on
felt
the
very.
bed.
It felt very much like she kind of admits at one point that
They made out enough to make him nervous because he was inebriated.
Yeah, and then he went and passed out,
sh-
and then she.
It almost kind of turns him into a victim a little because
That well, see, I
yeah.
think that was the point of this. Like, actually, kind of a really
Yeah,
really strong point of the book is this aspect of, do you believe Beth, who is apparently
proven
the victim,
herself.
or do you
Yeah.
believe the guy who's been passed out on the couch that no one seems to believe
And,
Right.
was even there, like
Yeah.
where she was supposedly.
and with that, I like the struggle between believing Coach or Beth.
Right.
Because both were, one was giving riddles, and one has always kind of been a liar to her. So I liked Addie's not that she had to struggle, but I did like.
They try to play it up where she was actually like the mastermind behind everything by the end. It's like, it was always
that was
you,
weird.
Addie. You're the reason
That
why
was
everything
weird.
bad is happening because of what
Yeah.
you want.
And
But-
Addie
and
is
it's just-
such through the entire book, she's just been a follower.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's
Um,
just been confused, and she does want to care for someone. Like, she wants to feel needed.
That's,
Absolutely.
she
That's
needs to
part
be
of why
needed.
she likes. That's
her
part of
relationship with Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Coach needs her.
Well, as soon as Coach came in and proved that Queen Bee wasn't Beth anymore, all of a sudden Addie was infatuated with her.
I mean, Addie, we talked
Yeah.
about it at the library earlier. Addie's she's a right hand man, and she seems to enjoy that role. Like, she
Yeah.
gets to still have authority over the girls, but she also gets to be their caretaker and the one that like keeps an eye on them and takes care of them. And I think that she enjoyed her position.
Mhm.
And so she got it under Coach, she got it under Beth, and then suddenly at the end she's the captain.
Yeah,
I guess
it's-
I almost kind of get the point, because it's almost like you use whoever's convenient to you, maybe.
Yeah, and like, I mean, Beth does, through the book it touches on how Beth's relationship was kind of holding Addie back because
Mhm.
Beth had kind of manipulated her into thinking that she wasn't a strong cheerleader and that she couldn't be a flyer. And so when Beth and her relationship crumbles, as she is suddenly in a leadership role. So I guess it's a valid character growth.
But she treats like one toxic person for the other.
Right, and
Yeah.
we didn't have enough of a character growth until abruptly at the end.
Yeah, and at the end,
He knows where the camera is.
the end is what.
Yeah, it's gonna come to the end with the whole Beth throwing herself.
Oh, and
off
Beth
the-
tries to kill herself on the pyramid.
But did she?
But did she?
Or did she
Well, was
just
it
want
one
to get
more
hurt?
word? Was it?
Did you guys pick up any significance when Emily was like, I get it now? Like,
Right.
the viewing, like, it's like we're killing ourselves. Like, she's painting the picture
Yes.
of us killing ourselves from fear. I wish I had that
It
quote.
feels like that was thrown in there specifically for the reader to think that, like any of the accidents that are happening aren't accidents almost. Like, oh, I can see how it's
Yeah.
so dangerous from up here in the stands because I'm no longer allowed. But then, like, you get that entire chapter dedicated to Beth, what appears to be throwing herself off of it almost.
Yeah, I don't know what I got out of it. It wasn't quite that, though. It was almost like trying to... I felt like it was trying to be worrisome. A pyramid isn't a stationary object. It's a living thing. The only moment it's still is when you make it still. All your bodies are one body until we blow it apart. I had to cover my eyes, she said. I couldn't look. I never knew what we were doing before. I never knew because I was doing it. Now I see. I'm not listening at all. Her voice getting more shrill, but I can't hear. A month on the DL, a month stateside. This is what happens. I just look hard into her baby blue eyes. Standing back, she says, mouth hanging in horror. It's like you're trying to kill each other and yourself. I look at her, folding my arms. You were never one of us, I say.
This book really wanted to be deep and it just wasn't.
It was not as deep as it tried
Which
to
is
be.
funny because she's talking to Emily, who becomes her, like, lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
and
And that's
what's
like the
funny
last-
about that is cheerleading is dangerous.
It is deep.
It's
yeah.
acknowledged that
Any
from the
sort of
outside it looks
sport
dangerous.
Is going to be dangerous, yeah.
But-
like, it's an athletic thing.
They're not gonna be like, oh my goodness, this girl thinks it's dangerous because she broke her leg or something. Which
She
so
did.
sorry, Emily. Sorry, I have to stay your leg, get my leg fell asleep.
But she,
Okay.
it was like a spring because it was only for like
It was
like
6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
So that was just weird. Like you know what you're doing. You know what cheerleading is. you
Well,
know it's dangerous.
I can see why if you've like grown up, like you've kind of progressed
Been
as you
in that.
aged. You started to do more and more stunt-like things, and then to see it not as a part of it, but from the outside, you can see how
Yeah.
you're getting tossed 18 feet in the air all of a sudden. That's
I mean,
I can see that.
Beth
That's
was,
throwing a random number out.
Beth
there,
was
you know?
such a calculating character too that like it, even if she was trying to kill herself, it really seemed more like she was trying to not even absolve herself, but maybe get the attention off of herself because she was very much an orchestrator in the Will
Being-
orchestrates it.
Will totally doesn't kill himself.
Will didn't kill himself.
Will kills himself.
Will
didn't?
did not
Yeah,
kill himself.
Matt kills him.
He didn't.
no,
No,
he will
he
kill
Will
himself.
pulls the
whoa,
trigger.
hold on.
He
Coach
gets, like-
specifically says that
I need this.
she didn't believe that Matt would use the gun. It fell between them, and it was Will was saying that he was basically saying he isn't afraid to die. He's like, you can kill me, it's fine. But it's basically
But
pointed
it says
at.
Will
That
pulls the trigger.
It says Will pulls the trigger.
I did not see.
He
Will
had
do it.
gunshot residue on his hand.
He had Menace kill him out, which is why they pursued the case.
But their hands
Did I
were
read this
obviously
book?
connected then. Hang on.
yeah, it was clear that they
And,
fought
like,
over the
that's
gun.
The whole, like, Matt's, like, comment about how...
Hell, this book doesn't know what the hell it's talking
And
about.
Matt was like, I looked in his eyes, and no one would believe that he wanted to kill himself.
Well, I
And
think
he's like,
that's
it's
him.
unfair that I know that.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like it feels like that's him stating like, yeah, I pulled the trigger, but he wanted it. Like what I didn't murder him. He wanted.
I
that.
took it as more like, it's unfair because
I think Will
I
made
know
the
that...
yeah.
I know that he wanted to kill himself and that he did, but there's no way I can convince anybody else because he didn't leave any kind of note or anything.
Yeah, but like, if Coach comes clean and explains what she witnesses, then
Coach
it's
ain't coming clean.
well. I mean, but if she does,
Coach
then
is like
it's
the
obviously.
most narcissistic character.
Except like if she does, it's obvious that Will did kill himself and that they scuffled, but Will kills himself. That absolves everything. But it's an issue because I read it as Matt's the one that actually pulls the trigger, even if it's Will that wills it. Pun intended.
But I definitely listened to that part on the
Pun period.
And
No
like,
pun.
because at one point it talks about how his teeth had broken out, in during the gunshot, and I will go ahead and reveal that I've dealt with crime scene cleanups, and I actually follow several pages involving crime scene cleanups, and that does happen when you blow your head off. And one of the characters is like, no, it's like the gun was forced between his lips. No, he was shot in the face, and the force of the gunshot blew his teeth out of his head. And the author multiple times brings up the fact that they're caps. They're not even real teeth. So they'd be more likely to fall out of his head.
So this even says Matt went to Will's home in a rage and shot him. Did we read different books?
But I think that's the point though.
It's supposed to be ambiguous, which I guess maybe she wants people to discuss it and see where they land.
Maybe she got this part right for like.
I absolutely ran on Will killing himself. She spends too much time talking about how Will is depressed. Will's wife dies tragically and pregnant with his baby.
As far as we know, I mean that's just the story that Coach gives Addie, right? Like we don't.
I think someone else brings it up too, though.
Okay.
I think Will mentions it because there's a scene where he's
about
drunk.
the woman.
Yeah, he's talking about the weird woman with the black eyes.
And he has a history of alcohol abuse too. Basically, I think he did it. I think he realized he'd broken up this marriage. He was pretty guilty about it. Matt was in a rage, and he wanted to die enough that he took the decision out of Matt's hands. That's how I felt about it.
Can I read the part?
Yeah.
Read, girl.
Okay, Matt. And Will grabbing for the gun and Matt's eyes seizing on her at last, spotting her standing there and abruptly gaining focus, gaining balance. Matt suddenly realizing, but not fast enough to stop it. The two men press together almost like they are embracing. It is as though they are embracing. And then suddenly the gun is shoved up between their faces and Will tipping back, the gun tilting, like the way you would feed a bottle to a baby. This is it, he says. Will says. She'll always remember that, and then pop. The flash from Will's mouth like a cherry bomb. Like Will's face lit from within. Yeah.
So even if Matt pulled the trigger, Will was...
Well, no, I think that's the point, though, is Will, they're trying to make it sound like Matt's not guilty of murder, even because Will wanted it or
But
whatever.
I don't think Matt would have done it.
Yeah, it mentions somewhere in there, she's like, Matt wouldn't have done it.
Well, that's what all of, the spouses of people who go off and murder
All
somebody say.
the spouses of murderers say.
He couldn't have done it. John Wayne Gacy was thought of as, the best guy in his neighborhood.
Okay, he's not a serial killer. He's just a man.
I know, but that's the point is,
Real far.
I'm just saying, if you know.
I don't know. I lean towards it not being. Y'all lean towards. I like that we have split ourselves, not even intentionally. This was something we just discovered. I thought it was pretty clear that Will did it to himself.
Well, I would just agree.
Right. We just talked about it for 10 minutes now.
But I agree with you. But no.
Anything else to discuss?
And another thing. I really hated when they found Coach and Will going at it in the staff lounge with the door unlocked and a chair.
Yeah, you gotta lock the door, my dude.
Lock the door. Go in your office. Go in a car.
Literally any option.
I mean, it's pretty clear throughout the book that they have picked all of their options, and they've decided that on this one occasion they're just not gonna lock the door, which would have been
in the middle. Yeah, I did not understand that.
And at one point, Will he makes out with a girl, and he feels guilty about it, but
clear.
she is a teenager.
Yeah.
You should feel a lot more than guilt. You should feel it's just creepy.
Well, that's kind of one of the issues. It feels like she being the author really.
Yeah, it just seems like the author didn't know what she wanted the book to be.
Yeah.
Was it a thriller? Was it social commentary?
Yeah,
was
it's almost like this. It's like she was making social commentary of this cult following of the book Lolita. This is such a disgusting thing, and then she goes about it in a way in which it's treated is still not like it probably should be.
Right.
I don't know.
And it just feels like it's trying to make points, but I don't know any point that it's
What
trying
points
to
are being made?
No.
It just asks a lot of questions, when you're trying to make a point, and then nothing is made.
There was just pretty low payoff. So I guess we can all agree. Don't read it. Do we want to give numbered ratings? We didn't discuss any of this.
So to give it a numerical rating, let me explain first. To me, a 3 is yay, you wrote a book. I'm pretty nice with my numerical ratings. Really nice. But to me, this was probably a 2.75. Yes, a book was written, but I hate when a book poses a lot of questions trying to be philosophical and get you to think and then doesn't make a point. It didn't.
What happened?
Yeah.
The point was, apparently, cheerleaders are all sociopaths, and so are the coaches.
I don't feel like that's a fair point to make.
I don't think it is either, but that's literally the point of the
Just
book.
the
Was
and
all of them were terrible.
just the ones that we met, the meds. They're all crazy and floozies.
I
I
wonder if she
can't
had
say.
it bad at
Were
first.
they even floozies though? Because I
Yeah.
think they were like virgins, other than like making out and drinking.
Yeah, that's well. I mean, they're trying to they have a competition of who can get Sarge Will to
Make out with them or look at them.
I don't know.
And I mean,
There
honestly,
was-
Riri was maybe my favorite of the cheerleaders.
And Riri was kind of the slutty one, but she owned it.
Or was it fake slutty? She owned her fake
Because
sluttiness.
She was the one that had
Because
given the
Beth was the
blowjob. So
I thought
I
Beth
thought
had
that was
been.
bad.
I got the
think
feeling
Riri.
Beth had never done anything.
I don't think Beth's done
I
it.
think there was
Abby
an entire
mentions-
thing about Beth
Abby
being
mentions
caught.
in 8th grade.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was Riri.
I'm like 90% sure Beth.
Somebody gave a blowjob.
Look, I read it in like a few hours. I don't remember a lot.
You read all your books in a few hours.
Okay, well. Matt tried to have a competition with me and
And
lost.
then I had to help patrons and.
That's why I
finish the
was
book.
behind you. I was at the front part of the desk.
Can you finish the book?
So librarians do not typically read all day, unless we forgot we had to do this.
Yeah, that's a stereotype.
Reading takes a
We're
lot of
actually
effort.
not allowed to read at the desk, but we do.
Here in Cobb County.
Cough, cough. I didn't have anything after
I
that.
don't
Just-
have a lot.
Just fake a cough.
Yes,
So you're rating. Go ahead.
Mine was a little higher because I listened to the audiobook rather than reading it.
That's fine.
I really liked the actress who read it. I thought she did a great job. So I gave it a 3.278. Very precise rating. I can sense the look that's coming from
3.25.
Kelly.
We'll go with that.
No, we're not
Go
rounding.
round to the nearest decimal.
To the nearest fifth decimal.
Uh,
I can't even say
That
That's
was
a lot
the
of
third
decimals.
decimal, though.
I know, I got you.
I'm not great at math, but
I'm like,
yeah. So I said a 2.5. I would rate this book a 2.5. So I remember why. Oh, there were some parts where it was well written.
there's some good parts.
But like we discussed, the author didn't seem to know what they wanted to write.
what year she was in?
What year
You
she
would
was in. Like
fuck
phone batteries are
year.
falling out. They have like zebra print cases.
Roll eraser, flip phone.
Right. That's what it felt like.
That is exactly.
But yeah, so there were some really well written sentences. I think if she'd written about a different
Some of the
set of
sentences were
characters in a different age range,
in a different book.
in
Even
a
if it
different
was,
setting,
With a different author.
I mean, the author she
It-
wrote a book.
Honestly, if
this
she-
topic, I wasn't gonna probably enjoy too much.
That's valid. Yeah, that's so like old emo kid. Like,
Wannabe.
why
emo
did we
kid.
pick books about cheerleaders?
That said, if she had picked an age group and stuck with it, which it doesn't feel like she did, there are certain
Yeah.
parts of it that reads very like teen and some
Because
that
who
reads.
were her audience? Like,
I-
it's
if
not
she
a
had-
new adult
Yeah,
book.
if she had picked an audience and tailored it for that audience, it probably would have been a pretty solid.
Yeah, this is
Or read
it's
it.
an
It's
adult book
It's
here.
adult fiction.
It
Don't
just
know
felt
that.
really unrealistic.
It's
to me,
YA in other places.
Yeah,
It's-
and it's not YA. It's not really new adult because new adult is pretty heavy on romance. I mean, I think that's one of the foundational points of the genre.
it's not good for that.
Was-
I know.
YA needed a little more sauciness, so they upped the age rating, and that created new adult. At least to me, in all the new adult that I've read, there was not a lot of saucy here. I mean, it was like scandalous saucy. It
And-
wasn't
and-
like
The words that she picks to make it saucy, like she throws in a fuck here and there, where it's just like, why?
right
It's not
The
necessary.
Thing to me was that one graphic scene with the teeth.
with the teeth.
With
Suddenly
the
there
bitch.
was gore.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's funny too because it's the teeth that weren't real teeth that they made sure you knew weren't real teeth to begin
Right.
with.
Yeah. Gory, but not too gory.
Gory
Right.
but fake
Gore,
teeth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your rating?
Average it 3. You
3.
published a book and it's a movie or TV show or
Get
it's on
together.
television somewhere.
Yeah. So let's talk about next month because this is a monthly thing. Next month
Hell
is
yeah.
Matt's pick.
If cats disappear from the world,
By.
Genki Kawamura.
What did you call me?
It's translated. It's Japanese. It's great. Came out like last year.
Has the word cat in the title?
It does
That's
have
the word cat.
It's sad.
No.
I'm gonna spoiler alert. It'll make you sad.
Great.
Yay.
I don't know, my cat is pretty deeply terrible. Alright, so are we official book club adjourned? I think we did an excellent job, guys.